My name is Vanessa. I am from Michigan. I am a mom of two and a personal trainer. And I recently, a few years ago, started bodybuilding. My first show was actually in 2022. I saw a girl on Instagram doing it after I had just had my son. Actually, it was my daughter. I had just had my daughter and I was like, that looks fun. What are you doing? So I reached out to her, and that is where I kind of just started doing my own thing and like researching, and then found out a friend of mine, her family actually did like the Grand Traverse here in Michigan, bodybuilding shows. So I got with them, and that's kind of how I got into the sport. I just, I fell in love with fitness after having my kids. It was just like my release, and it was like my me time. So it's like gone from there. I didn't really know what to expect, I guess. I guess kind of like how I feel like a lot of people get into bodybuilding is like they just see it and they're like, oh, I want to look like that, right? I mean, because guilty, I definitely saw that and was like, I also saw like the grind behind it. You know what I mean? I saw her hustling, and she would get on there and she was very real and raw about basically the nutrition and how hard it was. Like, for me personally, the gym isn't like a chore to me. I look forward to the gym. It's like one of the favorite parts of my day. So that part of it wasn't really so much a struggle for me. Nutrition, that part of it kind of, I have my moments, but for the most part, I think when I get into like that mindset, it's just like all or nothing. That's kind of the type of person I am. I'm an all or nothing kind of person. So the sport actually fit me well, but I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't realize like all the little details that went into it, like with posing. Oh my gosh, that was like the biggest struggle of it for me, like getting in the heels and getting on stage. But the sport itself, like, it was very intriguing.
Are you a personal trainer, online fitness coach, or gym owner on the verge of burnout? Are you wanting to grow your fitness business but can't add more hours to your hectic schedule? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today. Getting into it a little bit, start to feel like, oh man, this is, even though it's enjoyable and like I like to see the results and those things, there's still that part of me that's like, this is just a lot.
I have my days, like, I mean, obviously with life in general, added into, the sport of bodybuilding and being in prep, like bodybuilding is a very selfish sport. Like, it is, you have to be selfish. And um, it's hard to it was hard for me mostly to kind of balance that with being a mom and, and my sport. It was like, okay, I have to do these things, but I also have to be a mom. That was probably the hardest part for me, is trying to like combine the two. And then I just, when I started working in the gym and I became a trainer at the gym that I'm at now, like Powerhouse, we have a daycare. So I think it's awesome because my kids get to come to work with me, but not just that, like they get to experience the gym. They get to, like my daughter, she'll never be scared of the gym. Like a lot of women are intimidated by the gym, so like I've kind of tried to find different aspects of it that I can include my kids and my family into it. But I will say sometimes the kids make the nutrition part hard. I definitely, my kids love, all kids, they love snacks and treats and stuff. And as much as I do try to keep it clean in the house, we do let some things slide in here. But I also have my children sometimes, like, I remember I was like 2 weeks out from a show and I took the kids to get ice cream one day. And my son just looked at me and he's like, here, mommy, you want some? And just like put the ice cream cone right in my face. And I was just like, no, buddy, I don't. But, like, so the nutrition part kind of gets hard. My kids are sleeping when I go to the gym. I am a 3 a.m.er when I go to the gym for myself to do my personal training. So um the kid, that doesn't really affect my life as much. I mean, I don't get much sleep 6 hours a night, but it's good. I go to bed when my kids go to bed, so I've kind of tried to balance it all. But it definitely has moments where I get overwhelmed, just because like everyday life is busy sometimes, and I'm bouncing back and forth from the gym like 3 or 4 times a day, like because breaks in between and picking up the kids, so it gets overwhelming. But just like with anything, I think that if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to make it work.
That's very motivational to me and very inspiring to me.
that's one of my favorite parts too. Like that's why I share so much like of my workouts and stuff like that, because that's at the end of the day, like that's why I do what I do. That's why I love my job so much, is because being able to like to help somebody, like after I had kids, and I just like looked in the mirror and I was just like, wow, like I didn't recognize the person that I was, you know what I mean? Like that post child body, so it was like I know how it feels to like feel uncomfortable in your skin, and I've had so many people reach out to me and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so motivating to see you, in the gym. You're a mom, you're this, I don't know how you do this. And it's like, just like you said, it's like that bodybuilder's mentality. It's, I don't know what it is, but like once you become a bodybuilder and you just like set your mind to that, it's amazing the things you can achieve, and I love to just be able to share that with other people, because anybody is capable of doing this. If I can do it, anybody can do it, and I truly believe that. I think that we just have to have the right mindset and put ourselves in the right positions to be able to do those things and make it happen.
Being a trainer and working with people in person, and I think you get a different experience and a different relationship when you do that versus an online coach. Not that say that one's better than the other. I think they both definitely have great advantages. But when you see somebody in person and you can kind of get a feel in that moment, especially when they're training, of like what their body language is, how they talk about themselves and to themselves and to about the situation and things like that. And, what their goals may be and all those kind of different things. Do you feel like you have like, you kind of mentioned it there that, if you can do it, anybody can do it. But do you ever feel like at the beginning of that relationship of training someone that it's maybe a challenge to get that through someone's head that like, yes, just because, I have built this physique or I have, achieved these certain goals or I have, even started doing these habits and I'm great at these habits and routines, like it doesn't make me special. It just means that I've been doing it.
Oh yes, most definitely, most definitely, and I agree. Online coaching, I do both. Is definitely much more challenging because you're not like right there with the client, like you said, body language. You can't like look at the person and talk to them. Like it's just typing behind a screen. So it's like it's not as personable. Um, and honestly, I think like online training is more for like seasoned people that can be more disciplined on their own. But yes, for sure. Like when it comes to letting these my clients, for instance, like they just a lot of times they come to me and they don't think that they can do it, like they feel like they've been lost for so long that they can't get that back, and they look at me and they're like, yeah, well, it's easy for you, and like I guess like once we build that relationship and like get over that first couple hurdles, and like um, I do try to like make my sessions mostly about my clients, but they do like to ask questions too. So I'm honest and I'm real and I'm raw with them, and like they a lot of times do that. They see me in prep too. They see me struggling, so those clients who have been with me through those, they definitely see like, okay, and it has made them stronger too, because they're like, wow, if she can do this, and they're like witnessing, they're literally like watching me. I'm freaking starving, or you know what I mean? Like I'm just exhausted, like all these things. It helps, but um some clients are more challenging than others, like other people's, we don't know everybody's story. So we have to get the backstory of everything. And like I just, you have to build that relationship first. And I have had clients that have come to me and like we've been it's been like a therapy session or just like a chat, an hour chat, and like I'll let them take longer rest periods. And I kind of just like read the client, like I just try to give them what they're there for. And then I like push them a little bit more as we go, just to show them though, like you can do this. And I love when they tell me they can't, because my first words are, don't tell me that, like we don't say that here in my gym, and sometimes they'll like, oh, I hate you, but then I usually get a text message at the end of the day like, oh, just kidding, I love you again. So it's just like reading the client and understanding like where they're coming from, and also realizing too that not everybody has that bodybuilders mentality, you know what I mean? And it's not easy to come by, that's why such a small percentage of people do it. What is it, like 2% of the population?
Mm.
um so but it does, like I think it helps my clients to show that just because like they don't have to have that goal, but they can have a smaller goal and still work just as hard towards that goal.
And something that you mentioned about like people who, come to you and then they still have that like lack of confidence or belief in themselves. And What do you think it is that really gets somebody to like say, okay, I want to make this change. We're going to do it. We're going to sign up. We're going to do all the things. We're going to go and get the clothes and go to the gym. We're going to get, maybe a little excited about it along the way. And then they fall off a little bit. And I think it's a little bit of like losing that motivation, that fire that got you started. But like, what do you think it is that just gets people that takes someone from like knowing they should do it, and even sometimes really, really truly understanding they should do it, back to the point to, going through the stages of 100% first week, 50%, by the end of the month they're off, like the old thing about by January 19th, 80% of people are, off their resolutions, and that general kind of that trend, right?
At the end of the day, everybody has to have something that's bigger than, like, you can't set a goal and want something. If you want something and you're not going to work towards it, like, do you really want it? Or are you just saying that,
Right.
You got to find something that makes you want to get up out of bed in the morning and go do what you say you're going to do.
And I think a lot of times too, bodybuilding can start to become that for some people, right? Like they see it on Instagram, they just see the glamour side of it, they just see the side where people gaining, attention or followers or whatever. And so they're not doing it for the right reasons, and they don't last in the sport either. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like they see something that is kind of fun or glamorous, and then when they start to do it, they don't have that passion for it. And then it goes from I want to do this to, well, did you really want to, or did you just see, did you just see like the show day, and then you just see like, the end results, right? And I think that's why there's, I don't want to say so many, but I think that's where some of the quick in and out can come from in the sport is people who just jump into it for the wrong reasons, I guess.
Definitely. I mean, it's easy to like see that on social media, right? And you see like the girls in their sparkly suits with their hair done, makeup done, like on stage, just like physique is amazing, tan, I mean, it's very appealing, right? So I mean, it draws a lot of attention, and definitely, but getting into the sport, it definitely takes a lot more grit than what people think it is. It's not just, it's like the beauty and the glam and all of that only lasts 30 seconds. You're on stage for 30 seconds, so it's like not even 30 seconds sometimes. So it's like, definitely looking at it for the wrong reasons. Like you got to look at this sport, and this sport is not, it's not an easy sport to go this route. It's difficult, it's challenging, but that's what the win is for me, is like when I hit the stage, it's like, wow, like all of it's done, the hard work is done, and now I get to present it. And even at the end of the day, I mean, granted, I always want to win, I don't like to lose, but I mean, losing also, you learn from it, and then you go back and you go back to the drawing board, grow some more, hit the stage again, and come back for the win. It's just, you have to keep pushing forward. It's not just the glam and the glitz of of show day is very minimal to what bodybuilding actually is.
Yeah. Well, then, too, on top of that, even on top of like the work you do before, and then what you have to do afterwards too, right? I think that's a massively overlooked part of the sport. I mean, I've never competed, but that can be, a lot of people say, the harder part of it.
Yes, the reverse diet is definitely the hardest, because number one, your body's like tired and hungry, and you've been in a deficit for 16 minimum, probably 16 weeks, who knows, longer, multiple shows in a year. So your body's tired and your brain's tired, you're mentally tired, and definitely reverse dieting is the hardest, because you go out to eat and you're just like, wow, I can do these things now, but I promise you it's not worth it, because you don't feel well after. But yeah, it's not fun after the reverse. It's like, that's definitely the hardest part, but that's also like where you grow the most, you know what I mean? Physically, but also mentally, because it's like, this is where the real work gets put in. Like, this is where everything that you put into it right now is going to end up playing out. If you screw up right now, you're just going to keep it, you're going to stay where you are. You're not going to grow, your food's not going to get increased. And then you're just going to continuously be hungry, and the sport's going to be miserable.
Yeah. I mean, are you a personal trainer who wants to scale and grow your business online? Have you been coaching online for years, yet don't know how to incorporate online into your current business model? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today. You don't see that much specifically on, you might see like people posting like, oh, off-season pictures or whatever that may be, but you very rarely see a lot of information and content surrounding like, this is my first day, usually it's like, oh, sorry, I was off of Instagram for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the show. And so you very
Yeah.
rarely see like, oh, next day, here's what happened, or here's how I feel, or here's what, my diet looks like, or here's where I maybe went wrong and, overdid it. And
Yeah.
kind of along those lines, I mean, even not being in bodybuilding, I think when you go kind of on like a particular diet, or even just like maybe more structured or more I don't want to say restrictive in the terms of like what you eat or don't eat, but restrictive in regards to like just being more regimented about it, I guess. But when you kind of take a little time away from that, and you kind of do start to like, it's easy to, I find myself with this, it's easy to go from like very structured to, well, it's okay if I have a few or one of these, and then, that becomes like a habitual thing. So now it's like every night I'm expecting to eat this, treat, or every morning you're going all of a sudden, having a donut, or every, whatever you're having, a few pieces of candy, and those things start to turn back into like your habits and your norms. And then when you go back to the other way again, it's like, okay, I've been doing this for, whatever, a month, and that was great. And it was kind of gave me a little time or a little break. But now that next step isn't just like, boom, I'm back into it. It's like, oh man, now I gotta give
Yeah.
these things up again. Now they're part of me. Now it's like, oh man, I miss them, or how do I kind of go back to where I was without these cravings, because I didn't really have them before, but sometimes I wanted them, but when I didn't eat them, I didn't crave them as much, and now I am craving them because I went back to eat them. So just that back and forth of like structure versus kind of like craziness, and finding a balance between those, and knowing that like it's going to, I guess maybe even more so definitely in the sport of bodybuilding, it's going to be more beneficial obviously to just stick to something pretty regimented, and still giving yourself a little leeway, but staying on a routine, and staying on a like just keeping your habits streamlined, and not going too high or too low.
Yeah. That's why I always tell my clients to like have a day that you like eat, you know what I mean? Like just you don't think about it, don't track it, like don't beat yourself up about it, but plan it, because if you don't plan it, then that's when like you go into those like spiral out of control things, you know what I mean? If it's like, and you grab one thing and then you're just like, oh, screw it, I already messed up today, and then you just start eating like crap all day. But I found that because I have had days like that, and usually it's with peanut butter. My coach can vouch for that. But yes, the peanut butter when I'm in prep, I have to stay away from that. Um, but yeah, it's just, if you plan something, if you plan like, okay, I'm going to go and have a meal on this day, and this is what it's going to be, it makes it easier, and you don't beat yourself up about it, because then it also makes it easier to stay on track, because you have that coming. You know what I mean? Obviously, when we're in prep, like that's like nowhere in sight. So you just kind of can't think about it. And you just got to keep moving forward. Try to trick yourself sometimes with like healthy-ish snacks. Like I love to make a cookie out of oatmeal and banana and put it in the air fryer, and it's amazing. And everybody loves this cookie, and everybody's like, wow, it's not like, you wouldn't think it's like a healthy treat, but it's literally just like all whole foods. So you just kind of have to find like those hacks that like, that curb that craving that you're having.
Oh, I love when, finding those new things like that. It's so satisfying, because it's like, oh man, I can have this. And not that like once again, I'm not even like super strict on those things, especially right now, but like it just makes me feel like I've accomplished something when I've, had something that tastes like amazing, but also know that like, oh, that was actually good for me. Like it's such a good feeling.
Yeah, it is, especially because, like in today's world, the foods and the trash that we eat is like, I mean, it feels good to eat healthy, literally, like your body it feels good, right? And also, you got to think about it too, like that when you are eating clean and you're eating healthy, it's like you are also too another, again, like part of such a small percentage of people, you know what I mean? So that feeling right there alone is helping, like makes you feel accomplished, because it's like, wow, I'm doing something that most people don't do, like people think that it's inconvenient or expensive to eat healthy, but I mean, I don't know. I stopped at McDonald's for the kids on the way up north one time and it was like $20 and I was like, what the hell did I buy? Like we could have went to the grocery store. I could have made all of this homemade like for a week.
Right.
um, so but eating healthy, it's I mean, obviously it makes us feel good in more ways than one, right? And especially like for me with little ones, like I try so hard to like keep them away from that stuff,
Mm.
because you mentioned something about mental clarity, and literally if you eat like eating all that processed foods, like you get like the brain fog, and so it's like legit mental clarity from eating
Yeah.
clean.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves, I think, is people talking about like how expensive it is to eat healthy, or like even those who don't eat healthy, like all of a sudden know how expensive it is to eat healthy, right? And it's like, oh, you know this based off experience or just what like everybody else says.
That's typical, or people, I find that people like to bash things before they even, and they're not willing to try it. I think that's just something that they, need to fix within themselves. And it's not actually the person that they're feeling or the issue that they're feeling that way about, it's something that they need to deal with themselves, I think.
So your personal training and things like that, did that just kind of begin for you just off of a general interest of fitness and health, or like where did you kind of your interest really begin?
I was raised an athlete. I was born an athlete. I played basketball starting in like second grade. Like I think my dad said he has a video of me like dribbling a basketball before I could walk. So I was like 9 months old, standing dribbling a basketball. When I was born, my parents were 17 years old, and my dad wanted a boy. So he like was very insistent on me playing all the sports, which I'm very thankful that he did, because I love sports and that literally is my identity. So I played basketball my whole life. I played year round. I played travel ball. I played high school. I could have played college ball, but I got injured, hurt myself. And my senior year, I didn't end up finishing the season. I knew in high school, though, that I wanted to do something in like the fitness industry. I actually wanted to be a physical therapist because I had so many injuries in high school that I had our personal trainer of the school, constantly helping me out. And I knew then that I wanted to be like in this industry, but I decided that I would chase money and go to school for pre-law. And that did not last long. I was like, dropped out. I was like, no, this is not for me, and then I did not go back to school. And then I kind of just like, I guess I kind of just got lost, and I like, started working. I was waitressing and doing things like that. I tried office work. That just like wasn't for me. I cannot have a job where I'm like sitting down. That just does not work for me. I have to be going. So I went back to waitressing, and then I started working at Ace Hardware as a cashier. And then I worked my way up the corporate ladder, and I ended up being a business development manager. So I trained people who wanted to be in management. I trained them on how to be in management. And then I also dealt with like Ace Corporate's like business accounts. So I ran programs on like training managers. And then I got pregnant with my son, and I did go back to work. And then once I got pregnant with my daughter, I was like, I'm just going to stay home. So then I started doing Beachbody. So it was like at home workouts. And then I started coaching through Beachbody. And I liked, like being able to help people. But at the same time, like with that, like MLM, I felt like I wasn't actually I was doing more bad than I was good. I felt, like I felt like I was like targeting people just to sell them a package, even though they didn't want to use it. Like, so it just like didn't sit well with me. And I was like, I want to do I want to be a trainer, a coach, and I want to do this in person, So then I got certified and started training in a gym. But I've always known that this was the industry I needed to work in. I didn't follow, the light bulbs as a kid. I just did my own thing and ended up back here. So I don't feel like I'm working. Like I know that this is what I need to be doing. I love my job. I don't, it's literally, I love to be at the gym. When I'm not at the gym and I'm home, I'm like, oh my God, I'm bored. You guys ready to go to the gym? Like my kids love the gym. So it's just a really good space for us. And yeah, I'm glad that I found it again and it like came back around to me.
Now that it's, I think, more financially an option for a lot of people, it's really opened up the industry to better coaches, because those like, people like you who said, oh, I really love this, I want to be in this, but it's not really it's not really something that maybe matches what I want financially. But now that you can kind of, there's so many options, and fitness and health are becoming, much, much bigger, and seem bigger every year. And there's more opportunities and more things, and whether it's coaching or whatever it is.
It is. It's very cool that we have this opportunity to, do these things. I think that honestly, that this is probably like the future. That this is how everything is going to be done. I think, I mean, at some point, will we see it? I don't know. Maybe we'll probably see the beginning of it, but I think that most of it is, I mean, businesses are just going to be run via social media. I think that's pretty much become the what we are right now. But also like you were saying, like these, yeah, there are a lot of fitness influencers, and granted, maybe some of them aren't giving out good information, but at the same time, like if they can get somebody up off the couch and like, hey, try this silly workout, or dance workout, whatever it may be, like good for them, because they got somebody up off the couch and they're moving their body now, so even if that's what it takes to, get people started, then that's what it takes, at least it's something that um can benefit at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have to bring this up because it's the first podcast that I've recorded since I've seen this, and you may have seen it on my story. But along the lines of like getting people good information, and having, influencers that are passionate about specific things, whether it's fitness or health or like finance or anything, it doesn't really matter. But I think it puts a lot of power back into people who are passionate and knowledgeable about these things, instead of people, and maybe, and more importantly, like huge companies that are generally interested but don't really have a lot of information about these things, that may share certain things that aren't great. And then I posted something on my story about that, where this, huge media corporation, whatever, put out something on protein, and people are eating, are people eating too much protein? And,
Oh
just
yes.
just a terrible article based on research that was 40 years old. And it's like, no one that actually like cares about health and fitness, is within health and fitness, would ever put that out, because they know that the average person is not eating too much protein, and that's only going to cause harm to people that think that they, might cause harm to their body by eating more protein, when in reality they need to eat more protein. Like, but
Yeah.
to the point of like, when we have opportunities to like succeed and make money, but also do what we're passionate about, like those things start to become less um, detrimental to the average Joe, if you will, or like I said, really, whether it's about fitness or finance or plumbing or whatever, like whatever it may be, like that information is no longer going to be spread, because that's not the right information, and the right person sharing that is going to know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I know I saw you post that and I was like, this is the craziest thing. I like everybody that knows anything about fitness or health, knows that more majority of the population is not even eating half the amount of protein that they should be eating. So yeah, that was goofy, but I mean, people are gonna do what they're gonna do, but it's just, we have to, as us reading this and researching and looking at this stuff, we have to know what we're looking at and make sure that we're doing our due diligence, and especially when it comes to like health and fitness, because this is our body, and you want to make sure that when you do have a coach or somebody like that, like, or wherever you're getting your information from, you want to make sure that it's good information and you're not doing something to harm yourself, like putting different things in our body, or like keto diets and stuff like that, like we just need to be more knowledgeable and do our due diligence and make sure that we are doing the right thing for ourselves.
100%. Yeah. And do you ever have clients that are kind of skeptical in any way when they first start? Like, okay, I'm gonna, not that they're gonna test you, but like I'm going to try to figure out if this person knows what they're talking about, or do most people just, okay, I trust this person, so we're gonna do what they say?
um I have not had anybody like really question me or anything like that. I do have one client who is learning, and so she kind of like, we kind of like go back and forth, like working together to figure things out. But typically, for the most part, when my clients come to me, they trust me. So I think, like as a professional in the industry, it's important that we really do know what we're talking about, because this is our job and we're here to help these people, and we don't need more people out here putting out bad information, because there's enough bad information floating around everywhere. So I guess I'm grateful that my clients don't question me, but at the same time, I mean, now that you mention it and you say it, it's like, I wish they would, because, I am that person. Like, my coach is always like, just calm down, because I ask so many questions, but I like to learn. And if I'm doing something to my body, I want to know why, or, you know what I mean? To like make sure that it's work and it's right for me. As the fitness professionals, that we know what we're doing, and we know that not everybody is the same also.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the I mean, that opens up a whole nother kind of can of worms in regards to like online and social media being a great opportunity, but it's also, a great opportunity for people who don't know what they're doing to start coaching because, they want to make some side money and they don't really care about great quality, or they don't really care about the client, and, you know, the cookie cutter things that you always hear about, and all the kind of bad things.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. I am on my third coach. And I am sticking with her. I love her, but it's definitely like, I wish I would have done more research on the previous coach, that I had, and just to know more um about like the person that you're getting involved with. And just because, yeah, like, I mean, especially in the bodybuilding world, it can get dangerous, you know what I mean? Like, depending on where you're at, like, it gets, I'm not going to like go into super depth with that, but um it's not a sport that you can really have somebody who doesn't know what they're doing guiding you.
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout.
Making sure you have the right person, guiding you, and, knowing somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who has done it themselves, like, I don't think I'd want a coach who's never competed, because they don't actually know what you're going through. Right. But yeah, it's the importance of a good, knowledgeable coach is like, it's, it goes beyond that. So it's, yeah, that is number one. If anybody wants to, start the sport, they definitely need to make sure that they're choosing the right coach. And even though it could be a great coach, it might not be the right coach for you too. Like, everybody doesn't mesh well, and people are different. So just, making sure that it's the right person. That's why, like with my clients, I like to do like Zoom calls with them, prior to, so we could talk. And like, sometimes these conversations last an hour or longer, and just trying to get to know the client, you know what I mean? To see if we do fit well together. Like, I don't want to just take on a client that I feel like like I have actually turned clients away and been like, hey, I think you'd work better with so and so, just because they are more knowledgeable in this area than I am. So I do that all the time, because I just feel that, I want the best for everybody in this. And I think that knowledge is power, and that everybody just needs the right coach for them.
The relationship is such a big factor. Can you have that conversation with like a chat GPT robot at the end of the day, and actually like connect with it? And, just because it can spit something out that somebody wrote on the internet, is that going to actually impact you to want to continue going? And I think that that's a big aspect to kind of that personal relationship that a person can give you.
Yeah, there's no emotional attachment there, you know what I mean? Like, as the robot has zero emotions. They, you know what I mean? Like, I guess they could kind of be ruthless in a way. You never know. Like, um so yeah, like, I mean, the relationship and the emotions, making sure you can communicate, those are like key factors for, a coach. It's very important.
Is that something that you, I want to say struggle with, but like, is that something that you, like you go through this process with your clients when you, whether it be in person or online, of like trying to figure them out in a way, like, okay, what is this person? Like, how do
Oh
I talk to this person? How does this person respond to this? Like all those kind of things.
yes, oh yeah, definitely. Especially like with, it's a lot easier with my, like my in-person clients. But yeah, I definitely, I play it, like by per session, like, see, I feel them out and see how far they actually like let me push them, and then I kind of like break that ice a little bit more every time, with those clients that are like pulling back from me, as I'm pushing. I I'm kind of good at reading people, so it's a fitting job for me in that manner. But it definitely takes time. Some clients take longer than others, and
Mhm.
it's just learning how to to help people, like, and I feel like if you're passionate about wanting to help them, you're going to take the time to figure out what it is that you need and how you can give it to them, how you can benefit them. And you know what I mean? Like I keep, like not everybody is the same. I can't just be like, oh, this is going to work. This is work for this client and this client, but this client's completely different. So it's not nothing. None of this is going to work. I have to figure out a new plan, you just have to learn you just have to be patient, basically.
Well, I think the psychological side of the training and coaching is undervalued in regards to like the courses that there are out there, and the initial kind of thought behind what it takes to be a coach even.
Actually, it's funny you say that, because that was like when I did my pre-law school, that was like the one class that I truly enjoyed, like learning that. And it was all about like body language and like learning how to read people from body language and, like just how they present themselves and stuff like that. So I think that, that class probably did benefit me in a way. And I think that also too, like some people just have that and some people don't, you know what I mean? Like some people can just get along with everybody and are that people person, and some people are just more, like to themselves. And so it's, I think you just have to kind of be a certain type of person to be a coach.
What do you see as your, I guess, kind of the package of, you know, taking on people and being a coach and a trainer and being a bodybuilder? Like, do you see yourself being more serious or less serious or equally serious about those kind of different things? I mean, obviously you can do all those, but do you see that one is more important to you, or that one kind of is you have more of a passion over, or, that you're just looking to take one more into the future versus the other one?
That's a tough question, because I love my clients, and I would never want to give that up. And also that's my lifeline. But it is a very important goal of mine to become a pro athlete and make it to that Olympia stage one day. I have wanted to be a professional athlete since I was a child, like second grade. So obviously I am not the first girl in the NBA, like I said I was going to be, but um, so when I found bodybuilding, it kind of like gave me my identity back, like after high school and not being able to play basketball, not going to college and playing basketball, I was kind of like lost, so finally when I found bodybuilding, I got that back. Like I found myself again, and it's never going to go anywhere. This is the bodybuilding has built me back up to like to where I need to be and the person who I want to be. And and it just keeps getting better every day. Like I want more every day. And it's like I wake up and I'm hungrier, and it gives my kids drive. It shows my kids that, like hard work is important, and we don't get anywhere in life if by things that are easy, like we go through the things that are hard, we push through those things that we don't want to do. And at the end of the day, it might suck, but we're happy, and we feel better because we did accomplish those things. And so, I mean, I guess if I had to choose, I would choose my goal, because that's what makes me who I am.
It was really great getting to chat with you. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Absolutely. And if you want to share your socials or anything like that, you can before we head out.
Yeah, I am on Instagram as vanessa.fit12. I don't really use TikTok or any of that other stuff, but yes, follow me on Instagram.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.